Hello and welcome to a new airport update. Welcome back to Munich City Airport. Today it's a very busy day at the airport. In fact, the airport has never seen that much traffic, and that can lead to a few small problems, especially with ground equipment being a little bit scarce when there are that many aircrafts at the airport. But the airport is working hard, and we will take a closer look at what there is happening today. The time is 19:30 in the evening, so let's get right to it and go to the main terminal where we have some heavies coming in and going out. In full preparation for its next flight is this Airbus A340-600 from Lufthansa. Now, it came in this afternoon from New York JFK, was then parked on a remote stand and has now been pulled into the ramp here at the main terminal. You can see that catering is already on the scene. It will go out in just about 40 minutes to Bangkok and is currently being loaded with cargo, and there is some more cargo already on the way, so that aircraft in full preparation. Right next to the A340 from Lufthansa is a Dreamliner from United Airlines, a 787-9, which is currently in pushback. Now, the Dreamliner from United came in a little bit earlier this evening from Denver. Now it is being pushed to a remote stand where it will wait overnight because the return flight to Denver is first in the morning of the following day. This, however, is causing a little bit of traffic at the airport because there is an Airbus A320neo from Lufthansa taxiing to its ramp, and that has now been told by ATC to hold position and wait for the United to be pulled all the way back so there is space for the Lufthansa to go into its ramp. But more about this aircraft in a short while. Because first we will take a look at another Lufthansa aircraft, and that is the Airbus A350-900. This aircraft came in this afternoon from Boston and will be going out about 20 minutes past 8 in the evening to Tokyo Narita. Right now it's being refueled and catering is on the scene. Cargo still hasn't arrived. Now, the next aircraft is a Dreamliner, the 787-8 from Air Canada in the new livery. Now, this aircraft came in from Toronto but was supposed to arrive already in the afternoon and then go out in the early evening hours. However, it only arrived at 18:30, so quite some delay here, and will then go out at 8:30 back to Toronto. So while the catering truck has already arrived at the Dreamliner, there's another aircraft from Canada coming into the ramp next to it, and that is an Airbus A330-200 from Air Transat. Now, the ramp the Air Transat is pulling into has basically just been cleared by another aircraft, which is going out now, which has been quite delayed. More on that later in this episode. The Air Transat, however, is just coming in from Montreal and has now an hour until it will return back to Montreal in Canada. Then we have a very special aircraft at the airport today, the 757-200 from Iceland Air in this really nice livery. The aircraft came in around 7 o'clock from Keflavik and will go out at 8 o'clock again back to Keflavik. Right now it is being refueled and the stairs already there, so passengers will actually arrive fairly soon, but still a few things to be done before they can arrive at the aircraft. The next aircraft is a Boeing 767-300 from LATAM Brazil. This aircraft came in from Sao Paulo with a stop in Madrid and will then return to Madrid and then continue to Sao Paulo. Now, the aircraft is a little bit delayed. The cargo is pretty much done, so the aircraft is already loaded, but the passengers are only arriving now. The reason for that was some issues with the paperwork during boarding, so the whole boarding procedure was delayed by quite a bit, so the aircraft will probably not leave before 20 minutes or so if everything goes right. Now let's head over to my satellite terminal, my custom built terminal, which was made for me by Custom Airport Buildings. Now, I'm not affiliated and I'm not sponsored by them, but if you should be interested in checking out what they have to offer, then I will leave a link in the description of the video below. Now, the satellite terminal serves exclusively single-aisle aircraft, and the first 3 gates are only for non-Schengen departures. So the first one we have here is a Boeing 737-800 from Royal Air Maroc, which has just come in to the gate here. Now this has arrived from Marrakesh and will of course then return again to Marrakesh. Right now it's being offloaded with passengers and cargo. Another 737-800 is parked here at the terminal, and that is a 737 from TUI Fly. Now, in a recent airport update, you guys decided that TUI Fly should increase its operations, so this will not be the only aircraft from this airline that we will have in the update today. Now, this aircraft came in earlier today from Antalya in Turkey and will then be heading out to Hurghada in Egypt. Right now it's being refueled and cargo is also on the scene. Then the next aircraft is an Airbus A320neo, which we already mentioned before, is waiting to pull into the ramp. It has just arrived from London Heathrow, and that is where it will also return to as soon as United has made its way out of its own ramp so that the Lufthansa can continue its taxiing. Then we have this nice little Brussels Airlines Airbus A319. Now this has obviously arrived from Brussels Airport, and that is where I'll be heading out again in just about 20 minutes. Next to the Brussels Airlines, we then have an Airbus A321-200 from the Greek airline Aegean. Now the aircraft arrived from Athens, and that is where it will head back out to again. The aircraft is actually now delayed with about 5 minutes. The aircraft is fully prepared, all passengers on board, and is just waiting for the pushback truck to start pushback. However, at the moment it cannot go out because of the Lufthansa blocking the way, which of course is waiting for the United to go out. So a little bit of a domino effect here at the moment. And then the last aircraft here at the satellite terminal in prime position for all spotters at the airport, the Airbus A319-100 from Air France, which arrived from Paris Charles de Gaulle, where it will head back out to again a little later in the evening. So still not much happening except for very first cargo arriving here, which is of course then being loaded onto the aircraft. Now from the ramp where the Royal Air Maroc just pulled in is this 757-300 from Delta Airlines coming. Now this arrived earlier today from New York JFK, and this is where it will return to, and it is currently taxiing towards the runway. Another aircraft that is taxiing is the 787-9 from LATAM Chile. It arrived at 1:10 and was supposed to go out at 15:30. Now it came from Santiago de Chile via Madrid and is now going back out to Santiago de Chile via Madrid, but it has been very much delayed here in Munich and is first now heading back out again. Now let's head out to some of the remote stands of the airport, and here we have a 737-800 from TUI Fly in a special livery. Now this aircraft came in around 4:45 from Fuerteventura and will be heading out again to Fuerteventura, but there's still plenty of time before departure, as that is first scheduled to be 10 minutes past 9 in the evening. Right now there is some cleaning going on, and very first catering is also on the scene, but still not much activity. Much more activities we have at the aircraft right next to the TUI Fly, which is an Airbus A321-200 from Swiss International Airlines. The aircraft came in from Zurich and will be heading back out to Zurich again in just about 15 minutes time. The first bus with passengers has already pulled up, so boarding has already started. Also, cargo is pretty advanced. The last preparations are being done here, and then that is done, so the aircraft should be going out pretty much on time. Next to the Swiss, we then have an aircraft in full pushback, and that is the Scandinavian Airlines Airbus A319-100 retrojet. Now this is going out to Copenhagen. Not quite so advanced in its preparations for its next flight is the next aircraft, where a fuel truck is just pulling up. Now this is an Airbus A319-100 from Lufthansa. Now this aircraft arrived from Hamburg around 3 o'clock in the afternoon and was actually supposed to go out to Hamburg again 40 minutes later. However, there was one little issue with one of the engines, so it was taken off that rotation. The issue has now been solved, so the aircraft has been reassigned now and will head out to Frankfurt in just about 1 hour. The next aircraft we have has just arrived from London City Airport, and that is an Embraer ERJ190 from Lufthansa Regional, and that will then later this evening depart to Nuremberg. Now this aircraft will be taxiing to the ramp where the Scandinavian Airlines is pulling out right now. Another Embraer jet from Lufthansa Regional, but in this case an Embraer ERJ195 is just pulling into the ramp here. Now this has arrived from Hanover and will be then heading out to Vienna. As you can see, a bus to take on the passengers is just arriving, and cargo is also unseen, so the aircraft can be offloaded with luggage as soon as it has pulled fully into the ramp. And then we have another 737-800 from TUI Fly that is currently being cleaned, and catering is also unseen. This aircraft arrived from Palma de Mallorca, and in just about an hour it will be heading back out again to Palma de Mallorca in Spain. Next to the TUI Fly, we then have a Bombardier CRJ900 regional jet. Now this aircraft, operated by Eurowings for Lufthansa Regional, will be heading back out to Düsseldorf, from where it also came about 30 minutes ago. Now the ramp from where the CRJ is pulling out won't be empty for very long, because the next aircraft that will be occupying it has already arrived, and that is this Flybe Embraer ERJ195. Now this aircraft has just arrived from Edinburgh in Scotland, and that is where it will be heading back out to again, and departure time is scheduled to be 20 minutes past 8. And then we have another CRJ900, in this case from Iberia Regional, operated by Air Nonstrom. Now this will have a late return flight to Barcelona at around 9:30 in the evening. Now let's head over to the cargo center of the airport. Now in a previous episode I had asked you guys whether it should be UPS or DHL to have a base at the airport. The majority voted for UPS, so there you have it. The first aircraft is a 757-200F, which came in early this morning from Cologne Bonn. Right now it's waiting for its next assignment, so no destination so far known. A lot more activity, however, we have at the next aircraft, which is a 767-300F. Now this has a rotation to and from Louisville in the United States. And we can see that it is currently being loaded with cargo, and there is still plenty more to come. And then the second to last aircraft here today, the 737-800 from TUI Fly, just pulling into this remote stand here. This has just arrived from Lanzarote and will then be staying overnight, and tomorrow morning early at 6:30 going out to Tenerife. And we can see that all the ground equipment is already ready. Also the bus taking passengers back to the terminal is waiting for the aircraft to pull into the ramp. And then the last aircraft in this airport update is an Airbus A321-200 from Condor. Now this aircraft arrived earlier today from Hurghada and will then later this evening go out to Spain, and more specifically to Jerez. So there we have it, quite a busy day here at the airport today with a lot of delays, not everything running as smoothly as one could hope, but that's also part of everyday life at an airport. Now before we end this episode, this series is supposed to be an interactive series where you guys can decide on what happens at the airport, and therefore I have a question for you guys, and that is whether Delta Airlines should increase its activity or American Airlines should open a route to this airport. You can decide by voting in the poll that should show up in the top right corner of the screen right now. And with that, we have reached the end of this episode. If you have enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, that would be very nice. Or if you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. I would like to say thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.